Discourse. I'm Tyler Frater alongside Richard D. the Cruz.
In the scales.
And Chief Engineer, Lieutenant Commander Connor for Raider.
Good evening.
It is Monday, August 4th, 2025. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/gaming discourse, patreon.com/the gaming discourse. You can support us for $247, $10. Get your name in the video credits, early access to our videos, access to our Discord server, and more. We're doing an audio-only podcast today due to a series of things that have happened, and we've jumped through a bunch of hoops. And but that's okay, because we're going to bring you the news. We're going to bring you the goddamn news, like the newsmen we are, and we're also going to talk a little video games. But from what I understand, neither of you have played any video games recently, yes?
Correct. I work in video games. I do not play video games anymore.
And I hate them.
you just angrily sell them to people that are like, the Xbox 360 sucked, man, and you just have to be like held back the whole time.
Yep.
The last great console was the Atari. Am I right or am I right?
They don't make them like they used to anymore.
When did you start playing video games? Oh man, 2016 Fortnite V1. You're just like, you son of a bitch.
I miss the good old days.
You son of a bitch. Sometimes I feel like, I kind of picture you as like a little bit like Tony in Sopranos. One, because we're rewatching Sopranos, so everything in my head is Sopranos now. Like every time I react to something, I'm like, oh, hey, because that's But also like Tony, like when the strip club that he quote unquote works at, the guy behind the bar is this guy who like he's stupid and he always opens his mouth for like no reason, and Tony always beats him up, and it sounds horrible, and it is. He gets regular beatings from Tony, but it's also kind of hilarious. But anyway, that's just how I kind of imagine like your dynamic with customers is like no matter how much you want them to stop talking, there's this scene where the guy is like pouring ice down the sink, and for a bunch of different reasons Tony is like, don't pour that down the sink, conserve the ice. And he goes, okay, Tone. And as Tony's walking away, he's like, but Tone, the ice melts. And Tony like turns around really slowly, and Silvio's next to him, and he's like, come on, you don't need to. And he's like, if I don't pour down the ice, it'll turn into, and he just gets the shit beat out of him by Tony. Anyway, sorry. So it's just like, I'd like a Sega Genesis, and you're like, we don't have them. How about the Sega Genesis 16-bit version? That's the only one I want to buy. And then you just freak out and bash him to death with one of those like Nintendo laser guns that you definitely have behind the counter somewhere.
Yes, I have tons of those. But yep, definitely.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Okay. So yeah, we'll talk news.
I get off work and then I talk about work right after work.
I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, what have I been playing then? I've played a few different things. I went back and played Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is I'm just going to have to take my time with that one, because it's just really big and expansive, and that's a game you really have to like put in the effort to love, because it does not love you back.
It's a project.
It's incredibly detailed, it's incredibly meticulous, but Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is just, it is after your lunch money all day, every day, whether you need to go to the cobbler to fix your shoes, or you have to win some goddamn stupid dice game. The dice minigame, this is a legitimate criticism of the game, is that there is a dice minigame. Not Liar's Dice, but like a different game where you roll a bunch of dice onto a table, and then so many different kinds of combinations of dice score points, and then every time you score, so say you have 5 dice, right, and then one of them, like 6s, score 50 points, so you take the 6 out that you rolled, and then you roll with the other 4 dice, and then you roll another 6, so you take that 6 out. Now you're down to 3 dice, so you roll those 3. You can keep going until you're out of dice, but if you roll and there's no combination, then you get no points for your turn. Or if you score once and you just want to pass and take those points, you can do that. So it's a pretty basic game, but the animations are all really freaking long, and you not only watch your animations, but you watch the NPC animations, and it just takes forever. And it feels like the dice difficulty is just ridiculous. Because NPC, I don't know. NPCs just, it feels like they always get way better rolls than you do. I have Googled this. Other people
You're using loaded dice.
Well, that's the thing. There are loaded dice in the game. There's a bunch of different dice you can use. So that may be part of it. Other people kind of, when I Googled it, other people seem to agree with me. But then like that dice mini game gets rolled into quests. So it's like, okay, so I can do this quest and I can lose this goddamn dice game, or I can go look for other dice. And of course, what that requires is me Googling, where do I find this dice? And there's no like really good guides for the game at the moment. So you have to go by like Reddit people that are like, go northeast of this rock and then north and then south of that tree. And it's like really vague, but specifically vague directions to things in a Reddit comment. So you have to piece all that together. And then it's like, okay, so I have to find these dice, and is this worth it? So it's just, it's an amazing game. The combat's really cool. I had to I took a quest to take out a bandit leader, and I knew where the bandits leader's hideout was. So what happened was at night, I waited till nightfall, and then their camp is on the edge of a creek, but the creek goes through the middle of the woods. So I was like, okay, I'll wait till nightfall, and then I will sneak through the woods. Now, the Kingdom Come Deliverance is pitch black at night. It's realistic, like, especially if you're in a forest, because all the forest, all the trees block out the moonlight. So it is pitch black. You can't see a thing. You have like torches and stuff to light your way. But if you want to sneak up onto a camp, you kind of have to sneak through complete darkness. So it's like I used the creek, the sound of the creek and the sound of Henry's footsteps in the water to sort of guide my way, and I would open my map to make sure I was going the right direction. But anyway, I came up on the bandit camp, and there was one bandit that was awake, and he was sitting next to the fire. So I stealth knocked him out, and then I stealth knocked out all the other bandits because they were all asleep. And so I was like, oh, cool, this is, awesome, whatever. And then I read in the quest that I have to get a mace from somebody. So I think I took their mace, but then the quest also called to break apart the the gang, the bandit gang. And so I had to go Anakin Skywalker and just like stab a bunch of people to death while they were in their sleep after I knocked them out. But it was really cool. Like that, it was a really cool like little sequence where I did everything right, and I snuck up on the guard while he was awake. And yeah, that was awesome. So that game has its moments. The combat, once you get into the combat gets really intense, and it's really visceral because you have stamina, and you have, like, if an enemy attacks you with a weak sword on your armor, it won't damage you, but it can damage stamina and damage your armor. So when you get into a fight with like one other dude and you both have decent armor and decent weapons, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie The King with Timothée Chalamet, the Netflix movie. But there's a scene where they get into, where Timothée Chalamet, there's a couple scenes where they get into like a fully armored combat, right? And it's really gritty and messy, and they're both and like both combatants are like exhausted, and they're just desperate to kill one another. And Kingdom Come Deliverance kind of gets there, because you get exhausted, your opponent gets exhausted, and you're kind of just like circling around each other, waiting for one of you to make a mistake. And your location matters, because if you're trying to back up and you hit a tree, you'll get, you can get hurt pretty bad. So it's like you kind of have to be mindful of where you are. So if you walk into like a bush, it'll slow you down. If you walk into a creek, the water will slow you down. So you kind of have to be aware of your surroundings when you're in combat. So yeah, the game is amazing. It's incredibly detailed. Being immersed in history is amazing. It's so, it really does take you to another place in time with a whole nother system of government, a whole nother system of existence. And you're just living there, and that's really cool. But a lot of people have compared it to Red Dead Redemption 2 specifically, and I think that's a really good comparison. Henry's a little bit like Arthur. But yeah, it's a game that is definitely not for everyone, and Like there is an hour where I'm just like, this is the greatest game ever made. And then in the next hour, if you talk to me, I'm just like, this is the dumbest game ever made. So it really just depends. But other than that, what else? I've played a little bit more with Symphony of the Night. Don't have much to report there. Oh shoot! So I've been playing a lot of Abiotic Factor. I don't know if you guys have seen Abiotic Factor. It's a survival game, right? And there's like a million survival games. But Abiotic Factor is a little bit different because it takes place in like a Black Mesa type facility. So aesthetically and like with not just the look of the game, but also the sounds, it clearly mimics Half-Life 1. And so imagine a survival game, but instead of it taking place in an open world, it takes place just in a research facility, and you kind of have to figure out how to unlock doors and get to different parts of the research facility. And there's all kinds of strange monsters and weird anomalies and stuff like that. And you build bases. It's not like it's nothing like Satisfactory where you have gigantic factories or anything like that, but you have like crafting benches and whatnot. And yeah, you kind of build a base and you set up crafting benches and upgrade benches and ovens so you can cook meals and stuff like that. And that's where your like centrally located base is, and then you go from there to complete objectives. It is really cool. The story is really neat. The way it like sets up its so you go around the facility and you unlock doors, and that's how you find resources and other fun stuff. But the story funnels you into specific levels that take place in alternate universes, right? So much like in Half-Life where you go to the Xeno universe or whatever. In Abiotic Factor, the story kind of leads to you going into one of these other universes. And when you get there, it's a hostile place where you don't really want to build anything because you're not going to be... The point is not to stay there. The point is it goes from like a big open factory to like a what's the word I'm looking for? Bespoke level that has like a beginning, middle, and end that you have to get through to complete and find an objective or something like that. But yeah, and so I was playing through with a buddy of mine, and we went into this. The second like universe you go into. It's like a Silent Hill universe. It's a town, super foggy, and there's these giant walking like alien things that patrol the streets, and if they see you, they come after you and try to grab you. And it even kind of scared the crap out of us because at one point one was chasing after us and we ran into a building. So we're like, okay, we're safe. We ran into this building. The thing is like 2 stories tall. The door is tiny, so we're safe. And then this alien bends down and like shoves its arm into the building and tries to grab us. Scared the hell out of us. It didn't get us, but like that was a neat little surprise. So Abiotic Factor, you know, and I was like, I don't know what my game of the year is, you know, maybe Expedition, Kingdom Come Deliverance, I don't know, Split Fiction. But honestly, it may be Abiotic Factor because it is a survival game, so it has lots of, you have to eat, you have to use the restroom, you have to drink water, stuff like that. But just setting it in a research facility and not knowing what's around the next corner, not knowing, you know, figuring out how to open a door or get into the air ducts or something like that. Not knowing where the next portal is going to take you. All those fun little mysteries coupled with it being like a Half-Life stylization is really fun and really cool. And it's just a different structure. And yeah, so I'm really excited to playing more of that. Survival games, I get into it and I'm like, cool, this is fun, you know, whatever. But I think because of the setting and because of how it's structured, Abiotic Factor has me really intrigued and excited to play more. So, like I played V Rising, the Vampire. It was like a Vampire Diablo type survival game, and I had fun with that one. But it didn't engross me totally. I had fun building my castle and all that, but Abiotic Factor has really like engrossed me and sucked me in. So I can't wait to play more. Is there anything you guys would like to say about anything? About anything at all?
Look, some no-name indie game is not going to win Game of the Year, okay? All right?
What? Hey,
I'm kidding. I'm
oh,
kidding.
hey, why
Hey,
don't you show some respect?
my my
Hey.
my 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 Twitter site is coming out. Help, please.
Do you guys have game of the year titles that you like right now?
No, I haven't played any game released this year that is even in talks for game of the year.
Oh wow, okay.
Like
Would you
like
allow
yeah.
Microsoft Flight Sim 2025 for?
Would we allow it?
Yeah, even though it came out end of last year.
I mean, I'd have to say. I mean, looking back
Okay,
on
cool.
that,
I'm not including it.
Yeah, even the game that I really enjoyed this year, South of Midnight, like I wouldn't even put on my game of the year because I know it's not like even um I'm not trying to put the game down or anything, but it's just not.
What games came out this year?
Sure, I
It
know
was
what you mean.
it's a great game. It's a wonderful game. I love it, but it's not something that I would even like put in the conversation.
For like a game of the year type contender.
Yeah, aesthetics maybe like graphics or an art direction. Like sure, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
I'll put it in there. But anything else, no.
Yeah, no,
I have a
Um,
feeling it's going to be Claire Obscure. I
yeah.
don't think Blue Prince is going to win.
Blueprints better not win
people
because
forgotten about blueprints, man. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. And I don't think Split Fiction will win either. But
I think Split Fiction could win because It Takes Two won way back in a million years ago.
To be to also be fair, it didn't really have too much competition.
That was true. Yeah, that was a year where, hey, you can't take the champ away from them. No, that's like saying, that's that's an old sports radio thing. Hey, you can't take it away from them. They won. They got on the chip. No, but you are correct because I don't remember what year it was, but I do remember that there wasn't any like heavy hitter game or anything like that. But the past few years, we've had Elden Ring, Baldur's Gate 3. What won last year? Oh, Astrobot and Wukong. They were like neck and neck. So like the past few years, we've had big heavy hitting like generational titles.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have that this year. I wouldn't count like I'd count all these games as really good, as like exceptional games. But like Expedition 30, Elden Ring was like genre defining, BG3 genre defining. I don't know if Astrobot was genre defining, but it was definitely genre revitalizing, maybe.
Yeah.
But like this year, yeah, I
mean,
don't know.
we have Kingdom Come Deliverance, Expedition 33. I'm not going to include the Oblivion remaster. Split Fiction, Doom Dark Ages, Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Oh, that's a dark horse.
yeah.
And then
that's
Ghost of
amazing,
Yotai
yeah.
comes out later this year.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, which
Yeah.
We've had that discussion. I don't know if I'm not sure if it'll be counted in Jeff's show, Jeffy's, but
Death Stranding too.
yeah. Oh man, that's the other game that I've been playing, and let me tell you something. Man, I don't know what to think about Death Stranding 2. So I think Death Stranding 2 added more weapons, but that's not what the game needed to add. It needed to add like more difficulty to its traversal and to its deliveries mechanics and things like that. And that's what a sequel to Death Stranding needed. Death Stranding 2 has a bunch of weapons you can use. There's a heavy machine gun, a silenced sniper rifle, tranq sniper rifle. And those are all cool, but it's like the issue is I'm not going to kill anybody, because it's not like if you kill somebody, you have to take their body and throw it into a tar pit or incinerate it, because if you don't do that, they turn into a BT and it's game over. So the game incentivizes you not to kill unless I'm misunderstanding something. So it's like I'm not going to kill people, and I don't have to, because one, it's easy to avoid people and not kill them. And two, even if I do get into combat, Sam already has like 3 or 4 perfectly usable non-lethal weapons. So it's just like, why? I don't know. I don't need a second type of machine gun. I don't need a light machine gun or an assault rifle or whatever. So it's like they keep giving new weapons, but I'm just like, I don't care. This isn't what Death Stranding did not need more guns. It needed more cliffs, and it needed more difficult geography and stuff like that. But so yeah, I've been playing a little bit more Death Stranding too, and I don't know. It's fine. I'm enjoying it kind of, but I think mostly I'm just disappointed because it's still, I don't think it fulfills like the potential for that, for like deeper delivery mechanics and stuff like that. I can build all these roads, but do I really need to? Because I can ride around in my motorcycle just fine. I may save my, if I grind and build all these roads to all these people, maybe I save myself like 15 seconds when I go from base to base making deliveries, but like they're not essential. So I don't know. I'll keep playing it. I'm enjoying it. There's a cutscene where it's like, okay, this is the worst cutscene I've ever seen in my life, and then the next cutscene is like, oh, that was kind of neat, and that's very Kojima, where it's like one cutscene is just, it's like written by a 17-year-old who just learned what philosophy was, and then the next cutscene is like genuinely touching or something. So I'll keep track on that. But
I was scrolling through games that came out this year, and unfortunately, I think Night Rain may win Game of the Year.
Has Night Rain, because I thought Night Rain when it came out, people were sort of like lukewarm on it. Am I mistaken?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just a roguelike multiplayer game.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
I mean, if
but the DLC was put up for Game of the Year, so
yeah, but I don't think Night Rain will win. I think people are playing it. I think in like Souls-like enthusiasts are into it, but even without playing it, I just don't. I don't know. It's just an educated guess based on my part. I just don't see that. I just don't see that winning. Honestly, as of this moment, it's either going to be Expedition 33 or Split Fiction. And if I had to really,
do you think Avowed has a chance?
No, Avowed is good. I enjoy Avowed, but I think Avowed came out and it got solid reviews and all that.
It came out and the crowd went mild.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people maybe tried it on Game Pass or something for a bit, and they kind of just lost interest after a while. And to their defense, I think you really have to stick with Avowed for it to get good. Another problem is I think Avowed on like a standard difficulty probably isn't that difficult. And this is a problem that a lot of RPGs have, where it's like, if you turn up the difficulty, all of a sudden, all these spells, all your potions, all these things matter. So now the game's really tactical. You really have to think about it. But on normal difficulty, not very many enemies are that difficult, so combat isn't that difficult, and therefore all of these extra things are just sort of extra things that you don't really need. So the systems only get like really crunchy if you crank up that difficulty. But like combat for me in Avowed is awesome because I have the difficulty all the way up, and it's just I'm casting different spells, I'm jumping left and right. And you can take abilities from different archetypes. So I have mostly mage, but I also have like a ranger ability that allows me to refill my stamina instantly. So when you use a wand as a mage, it takes stamina, right? It's like the effort it takes to fire a bolt of lightning or whatever from your wand, your basic attack. And that takes stamina, and once your stamina depletes, you can't run away or anything. So as a mage, you're particularly defenseless. But this ability for rangers allows you to regain all your stamina instantly. And so that's freaking awesome because I do that as soon as I run out, and then I go right back to attacking and jumping around. So yeah, and I think the story's good. I think the characters are good. I think it came out maybe $70. I think it was divisive for a few different reasons, just because I think some people expected maybe deeper combat, or maybe like the game doesn't have romances in it, and romances were kind of in vogue or are in vogue at the time.
And it's, just inundated with wokeism.
Yeah, sure. But the more I've played it, the more I'm glad I've stuck to it, because it is, I think, well written and continues to be good. I try and play it like every few days, like hop in it like an hour or so, just so I can get around. And I'm almost done with it, but The other thing that I think I appreciate about Avowed is it's really focused. So like it's not a huge open world. There are like 5 different areas you can go to, and those areas are kind of big, but if you just follow your quest markers, it tells you where to go, you go there, you do the thing, you're done. So it's very focused, it's very tightly woven. You don't have to like grind and go back and forth across an open world or collect a bunch of things. So it's many open worlds that have very specific things to do in them. And I think a lot of people appreciated that focused gameplay that allows you to, do the mainline quests or focus on something else. I could go on a little bit more about Avowed, but we're already at a half hour here. So maybe I'll talk about Avowed next week because it is an interesting game. Anyway, okay. I will hit the ad and we will talk about news. Thanks for listening. If you like our content, please consider subscribing or leaving a like and comment. You can find us at patreon.com/thegamingdiscourse. And our tiers are $2, $4, $7, and $10 and include getting your name in the video credits, early access, and access to our Discord server.
I will log in now. Yes, because I now deal with real Pokemon cards. So
fair. That's fair.
So it is.
Did you see that story about like GameStop repackaging Pokemon cards or something like that?
No, I did not.
It was on Kotaku. Where do you when people sell you Pokemon cards, like is that eBay? Like where do you use as a baseline?
So the main thing that most people use is a website called tcgplayer.com.
Oh, okay.
And that's essentially community driven. eBay is a secondary place to go to, but you'll find that there's a very large disparity between pricing on both of them. So cards that I can see go for like maybe 15 to 35 cents on TCG Player. Some people have been fetching for like $2 or $3 on eBay. So there's like kind of 2 different audiences that are at odds with each other.
Oh, interesting.
But most people go with TCG Player.
Why do you guys think that we've seen this revival? Am I just out of touch with like the Pokemon fandom, or has it been like the last year and a half we've had like a revival of interest in Pokemon and stuff like that?
It's been going on for the last like 2 years.
It's
definitely been more than last year and a half. I think really what it came down to is all like it has come to the point where the generation that was really into it finally has adult money.
Yes.
And so they're finally able to drop ridiculous amounts of money on pieces of cardboard.
Yes, yeah, and something that happened. So I tell this story all the time, but every couple of years something Pokemon related happens.
Yeah,
it blows up Pokemon again. The last time it happened to a large extent was Pokemon Go in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
But COVID caused a lot of people, when staying at home, to kind of get in touch with what they loved growing up, because times are depressing. And Pokemon, of course, is one thing. And with the Pokemon Pocket, 2 sets came out for Pokemon cards. Pokemon 151, which solely focused on the original 151 Pokemon. And then Prismatic Evolutions, which focused on Eevee and its evolutions. Those are like some of the most favorite Pokemon for a large majority of people. So that kind of brought people who used to love Pokemon back into Pokemon again. And then the app came out like right after, which the app is very easy to get into. It's very generous when it gives you packs, so that feeds into the the cycle. And even when I downloaded the app a while ago, like it was very fun, and I loved it a lot. And I kind of like sat there and was just like, wow, I remember what it feels like to be happy. from being an adult looking into like a child standpoint, I suppose. So that's happening. But a big part of it is also like the money aspect, because there's a lot of cards that are worth a lot of money.
Just go buy a pack of cards and put on the fight scene from Marriage Story in the background. Just open the cards and
there you go.
relive childhood again.
Oh my god. Okay, let me say this for a fact. Our parents did not fight like that.
I know.
Right. What was I gonna say? Have the past few Pokemon games been pretty good? Because Connor, I know you got into one of the RPGs, right? Not too long ago.
Yeah, I played through Scarlet.
And was it relatively
and Project
good? Or?
Arceus. I mean, they were fine. I think a lot of the game's issues came with the Pokemon engine being wrenched into doing something it really wasn't supposed to do, which is over the shoulder third person camera mode. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, anyway, sorry, random Pokemon talk there. Okay, so BioShock, the next BioShock game is going through development turmoil. This is according to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier. The next BioShock is being developed by Cloud Chamber Games, and it recently failed an internal review by executives at 2K Games. The game's narrative was one specific area that needed to be improved and will be revamped. Studio head and co-founder Kelly Gilmore was ousted, and creative director Horgath de la Plante was moved to a publishing role. During a recent all-hands meeting, Cloud Chamber was told the company needs to be more agile and efficient, so those words are euphemisms often used with regards to layoffs, so people are afraid that layoffs may be the next thing to happen at Cloud Chamber. I didn't know if you guys had any strong feelings about BioShock, especially since the last BioShock was 2013. But
not long, huh?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But,
go
I
ahead.
love BioShock. I've loved all the BioShocks that I've played. Although, the last time I played Infinite was when it released. So I know that kind of opinions on that have become a lot stronger. But I haven't gone back to revisit it to kind of like see what the deal is. But I do like BioShock as a series, but I think that they need to, if they want to make another one, I feel like they need to tread carefully as far as what the game will be about. And I mean that in regards to concept and gameplay. I think people love BioShock because it had such a out there concept for a game at the time, and you had an underwater city with these like powers that you'd inject into yourself, and it's very cool. I worry that if they were on to make another BioShock, they would try to like set it in a different time period, like on land or somewhere else, which doesn't make sense to me because Rapture was like its own singular thing outside of everything else, at least as far as we know. So, I would want a new BioShock game to probably have more to deal with, like maybe the downfall of Rapture than anything else.
Okay.
But regardless, as of now, I have not thought about BioShock since 2013, and I've never thought about wanting another BioShock. So maybe I'm in the minority, but if it's good and they hit a home run, cool. But it's not something I'm asking for or necessarily like pining for.
Go ahead, Connor.
The most I've thought about BioShock in recent years is, man, I'd love a BioShock remake that's kind of in the same vein of Resident Evil 2 remake.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or they sort of just they revamp the gameplay, modern visuals, that kind of thing. There was an
tighten
HD,
up everything,
but
improve the visuals. Yeah,
I think there was an HD remake not too long ago, or a remaster, but I don't think they ever like straight up remade it like fully, if I remember correctly. I may be wrong.
You could definitely expand a lot of stuff. You could probably delve more into. I know the two biggest things or complaints about the original BioShock are, choosing whether to kill or save one of the little sisters is kind of, and I'm not going to say it's moot, but it doesn't really affect too much at the end game. And then, of course, the final boss fight is pretty boring.
Yeah, I would love to go back and play because I've played BioShock. I played BioShock 2, and then I played BioShock Infinite right around when it came out. And I don't remember a lot. I remember a lot of the first BioShock, but I don't remember a lot of BioShock 3 or BioShock Infinite. I know that it got... I remember enjoying it, but thinking it was okay, and I think it got a lot of like middling reviews at the time as well. And I know a lot of people, like, I don't... It was one of the... BioShock Infinite was one of the first like internet games where I saw a reaction to it that... I don't know how to put this. Where it seemed like everyone on the internet was like reacting to it somehow or another. I don't know. There were YouTube videos that were talking about complaining about it being bad. Like the first video games I think of when I think about that are like Diablo 3 and BioShock Infinite. So right in that time range. But yeah, I would agree with you, Richard. I think one of the reasons, like, I would love another BioShock game, but maybe one of what you're hitting at is that BioShock, like, what is it? What is BioShock? So BioShock is just an extension of System Shock, right? So System Shock had Shodan, it's sci-fi, it's cyberpunk, whatever. And what drove it was the immersive sim gameplay, open-ended, space station. You can go to different places. You have to limited information where you have to figure out a lot of stuff on your own. And how do you kill this enemy? Well, there's 1,000 different ways, including stealth, including machine guns, including whatever. But you have to find that. So it's a mix of like exploration and survival and stuff like that. And so BioShock was sort of an extension of that. But BioShock it's told a complete story, right? Like beginning, middle, and end. And so what do you do from there? Do you do Rapture again? Do you do something else? So it's like System Shock, where System Shock the first game told a complete story, and as far as I know, the second game told a complete story, and what links them together is Shodan, the villain. It's the only thing, if they ever made a System Shock 3, the only thing that would link them together likely is either another appearance of Shodan or the name itself, and it being cyberpunk, right? So it's like, if you made another BioShock game, would you have big daddies? You could, but BioShock Infinite didn't have big daddies. So it's like, what thematic things do you have to bring back? So it's like not a very strong... I don't know how to put this. Like what we associate BioShock with is the 1950s, right? Somewhere beyond the sea, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And 1950s, 60s. So it's like, if you were to do it again, would you... I guess maybe it's a little like Fallout, where it... but even the setting is probably more defined than BioShock. But in any case, I'm going on a bit of a tangent here. We don't have the full picture of what happened at Cloud Chamber, obviously. We just have Schreier's reporting. I would love to know what the internal review looks like. Like what... So it says 2K executives, so it's like, okay, what executives and what do they see and what do they say? I'm always insanely skeptical of anything that comes down from a person with executive in their title. So it's like, I don't know, what did they see that made them judge a game to be not fulfilling a certain quality of standard of quality or something like that. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this or if I've ever mentioned it to you, but Mark Dara actually has a video where he talks about when executives would come in to visit, or I guess to do these kinds of checks at BioWare, they would purposefully, for one specific executive, they would purposefully do something wrong because this executive always needed to find something to pick at. To make themselves feel better and like they did their job, they'd have to find something so that they communicate to Mark Dara or whomever, hey, you guys need to fix this. So what BioWare would do is that they would put bait in a presentation or something purposefully wrong, knowing that the executive would latch onto that and knowing they wouldn't actually have to fix it because it's a false problem. So I think about stories like that and I wonder, I don't know, like... I'm just skeptical. I'd love to see, I'd love to hear more about the details of the internal review. And trust me, it's a total possibility, because we all, like, we could go back, whether it's like Mafia 3 or other games that had really tumultuous development, Dragon Age, the Veilguard, really tumultuous development schedules. Like, we can go back and point to examples where, yeah, there was just a lot of stuff that wasn't working out and it needed to be revamped or whatever. And sometimes that's executive problems and sometimes it's not. The other thing is, like, yeah, BioShock is another instance where it's obviously not totally Cloud Chamber's fault. They came into existence in 2019, but, like, why haven't we gotten a BioShock 4 yet, So it's like, why has that not happened? The last one came out in 2013. And so it's like, now there are logical reasons for that, right? But at the same time, I think the logical reasons are sort of underpinned by a broken system, right? By, like, systemic problems in the industry, where you have this franchise that has a lot of, a strong fan base, a strong brand, and it's like, for whatever reason, you have trouble getting the next game out. And this is like I think like a relatively new phenomenon. I don't know. It's the same thing with Splinter Cell. It's the same thing with GTA 6. It's the same thing with Mass Effect. It's the same thing with Dragon Age, where it's like, you have these stories, these properties, you have these game series, and for a whole laundry list of reasons, you just can't put them out consistently or semi-consistently. Instead, you have these insane development schedules where you go 10 years without one, and now it's like the stakes are, well, we either, how are we going to make money on this? Because we've been developing it for 10 years, and so that's cost us so much money. So it's like, even if we put something out, and even if it's Game of the Year quality, is it even going to break even because of the tumultuous development schedule? And that's a super complex problem. Jason Schreier mentioned mismanagement in the industry across, and it's like, yeah, I don't know how to solve that, but I feel like it needs to be solved, because that's one of the, I feel like that's one of the big phenomena of the past 15 years or so that has really hit the games industry. But it's a phenomenon that is systemic. It's not like, you can't put a finger on it or point at one specific person. It also has to do with economics. It has to do with the changing economics of the games industry, the changing economics of the console industry, right? So, yeah, I don't know. It does make me feel bad, because I know there are people out there that are, like, diehard BioShock fans. So they are in the same boat that, like, I am in with Splinter Cell, where it's just, you don't know. Or Dragon Age, where it just seems like, it's that old meme, I guess the franchise is dead. Like, you have no idea. Is there anything else you guys would want to say about this? Any other thoughts on BioShock or anything, or System Shock, or just immersive sims in general?
Executives need to stay out of game development.
Well, that's very true. I have a hard time not being, like, personally, like, just I want to say angry at this. Man, I just couldn't care less. I suppose.
I guess
no shame to, like, or like, no, like, I'm not trying to put down anybody who was working on it. It really sucks, because they may have had a good idea, but I just do not care for another BioShock, I guess.
Well, that's the
I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's because everything that the original BioShock was and BioShock Infinite were just, like, maybe I'm too wrapped up in the fact that it was, like, a product of its time, and it's like, then and there, like, you can't amaze me again with a new BioShock. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So,
and I think that's what I was trying to get to with, like, BioShock was sort of a finite package, and so unless you went back to Rapture and you did Big Daddies again and you did something like that, because BioShock is really broad, right? So it's just because BioShock Infinite took place in the sky, right, on an archipelago. So it's like it did a completely different thing, and I think it took place. completely different thing, and I think it took place in like the 1890s or something, or the 1910s or something. I don't remember. So it's like you could do anything. So it has a strong. I'm not sure how to put this. It both has a weak and strong brand in that if the next BioShock were, I don't know, set in space even or something, and it was like retro futuristic Fallout type spaceships and stuff, like that would fit, because we don't really, the BioShock world is 3 games, and all of them besides the first 2, Infinite and the first 2, are pretty different. So it's like the branding is sort of vague in that way. The world is sort of vague. So there's no, and it's not like with Splinter Cell is different because we have defined stealth gameplay. We have a character in Sam Fisher we would want to explore again. We have Lambert, right? We have all these other, but BioShock, it's like, what characters are there, that you would want to explore or
And that's exactly the point that like I wanted to make is like I guess BioShock and BioShock Infinite had sure there were smaller entities in the story that had their own things going on, but there was like one ultimate evil that we would say, or like ultimate like antagonist of some sort that affected everything else. So once that was taken down, there's really nothing else like that could go on. And it's kind of like the same problem I have with like the Jurassic Park movies, right? Like the like Jurassic Park 1, it's like, yeah, we made dinosaurs. Oh shit, we fucked up. Let's not do that again. And then like 2 and 3 had their own stories that worked, but with like Jurassic World, it's like, okay, why the fuck are you doing this again? Like, we know what will happen.
Yeah.
Does it like, there can't be a bigger villain than what you made the first time, because it just doesn't make sense.
And I think maybe if I were, and I am a BioShock fan, but if I was like BioShock hardcore fan, I think maybe my counterpoint would be that it's that they would want the aesthetics of BioShock to return, right? So kind of like Fallout, where you would want to go back to something where it's like, Bobby Darin, 1950s, 60s club music, set to like a horror underwater landscape with Big Daddies or something like that. Like you would want to go back to. So even if there's no characters, it's like themes and aesthetics. I think that would probably be the I get quote unquote counter argument. I think your criticism is interesting and valid, but I think that would be like the response. So yeah. Anyway, okay. We will move on. So I wanted to talk about, there were 2 stories this week about Battlefield 6 and then one about PUBG, and it gets into something bigger. But so Battlefield 6 is coming out soon, I think release in August. Andrew Wilson, in a call with investors, said this. I'm going to read just a quote. "We've been investing more behind this Battlefield than any Battlefield product before it. And really, the big reason for that is that this isn't just a product. We're really building out Battlefield as a platform." Okay. And then Krafton's CFO, I don't know how to pronounce, it's a Korean name. I apologize for the pronunciation. It may be Dongkan Bay, maybe my best shot there, spoke about PUBG on a conference call and said, quote, "In the age of PUBG 2.0, it will not simply be a battle royale game per se. It will play a role as a gameplay platform. We are developing wide-ranging modes under that objective." So this is UGC. This is the next. Connor and I, we talked about this a couple months ago, actually. And I think it can basically be boiled down to, they see Roblox, they want Roblox. So I think that's basically what's going on here. But I kind of want to have this just a quick discussion about like, or a long discussion or a medium discussion about, I don't know, what do we think about that? What do we think about this idea of games as a service has kind of not worked? It kind of has, but kind of not in other ways. So now we're seeing this sort of new trend where people are transitioning to games as a platform, where they want to create a Roblox and have their own little slice of the world in that way, if they can't, dominate it via games as a service. I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I don't know, what do you guys think right away about this? And like I said, there's a lot of different avenues we could take this.
Stop. Just stop.
That's about right. There are well, yes, stop. Number one is stop. If you can't stop, then you should immediately understand, and I know they're not, because it's, they just want money and constant money. There's literally no possible way that you will get the attention of every single person out there. You're going to need to grab your niche and stick with those people, particularly. And I think that with Battlefield, I roll my eyes more than I do with PUBG. Only because I'm aware of PUBG's popularity, particularly overseas in Asia.
Yeah.
PUBG is really, really big over there, and they've already had a lot of crossovers. So having it become kind of a platform over there makes more sense to me than something like Battlefield. Battlefield as a platform to me only makes sense if you're going to be, well, it doesn't make sense first off, but if I were to do anything regarding it, I would want them to try what they did last time again with what was that? I forgot what that mode was called.
The creation. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but and it's something that like even Halo has fumbled on. Like Halo's Forge mode was supposed to be something like this. Like people could create their own maps, people could create their own fun, and it's kind of not worked out that way. But yeah, whatever the battle, I think it was like battle something, I can't remember. But having like, oh well, let's put like, I think the idea was like, oh, let's have like World War II vehicles or pit against 80s weapons and stuff like that. It probably be fun that way, but I just would not want to expect anything else beyond what your particular genre is. It's already strange seeing very strange seeing like the Ninja Turtles and Beavis and Butthead inside of like Call of Duty. Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
And Battlefield 6 has said they're not going to do silly skins, which it's one of those things where that, I don't know, that should go without saying. It's like, hey, I'm not going to break into your house today. Okay, I shouldn't be given a medal for following the law. Like, congratulations. But I will, so sorry, Richard, were you?
I'm done with the point.
I think the UGC is interesting because it's been around for a while. You brought up Halo, and Halo added Forge because I think it was an interesting way to build community because Halo was built up in LAN parties. Halo was built up online. If you go to the Master Chief Collection right now, there are custom lobbies, and that's awesome, of people playing a bunch of like user generated stuff. So that, I don't know, but that wasn't built that way because they were trying to figure out how to monetize Forge. It was built that way because it cultivated people getting online, it cultivated a community, it cultivated people playing Halo, and it didn't deviate a whole lot away from your Slayer or anything like that, right? Like you could still find those experiences. Roblox was always a playground. It was always a platform, right? It was always a box of Legos for kids. And so it makes sense that you allow them to build stuff. Battlefield has like a history. Like all you need in Battlefield is conquest and push. Other than that, you're wasting your time. I'm sorry. I'm going to take that stand right now. If you're doing anything else with Battlefield, you're wasting everybody's time. Make conquest good. You can make rush good. And then the other one, push, the World War I, that was really cool as well. So it's like those three modes. That's all you need. If you do anything more than that, you're reinventing the wheel. You're making things more complicated than they need to be. But I never thought Battlefield was something like Halo where you could, I mean, if they added a Forge mode to Battlefield 6, I'm fine with that. But the thing that makes me uneasy about this is not adding a Forge mode so that the community can have fun. This is how do we make Roblox money from Battlefield 6, right? How do we take the IPs that we have and bend them, strain them, wring them out, stretch them, crush them so that they fit into the shape of Roblox? And that makes me uneasy because it's the same thing that people did with live service games, where it's like, how do we take this game and turn it into a live service game? How do we take a single player, how do we take Assassin's Creed and give it fucking live service mechanics? And it's like things get ugly and you get a bunch of ugly skins and a bunch of ugly menus and bullshit like that. And so it's the same thing. It's like, Battlefield wasn't meant for this. That was never the idea. Battlefield was always about big battles with tanks and airplanes and squads and big maps, and that's what, you know, differentiated it from boomer shooters or from like Medal of Honor, right? Where Medal of Honor was closer to Counter-Strike back in the day. So that is Battlefield's strength, and I don't know, it again, if you were just adding a UGC element like Battlefield has had, that's great, that's wonderful. But this isn't just about UGC. This is about trying to be Roblox, and Roblox is immoral and sucks. So that is not good. The other thing that I think, I don't think this is too cynical. I think we have to remember that not more than a year ago, Andrew Wilson or somebody at EA completely debased themselves and ashamed themselves in front of God and man when they brought up their dumbass box AI video where the people were like, oh, make me a level out of boxes, and the rules are you have to shoot each other with grenades, and they typed it in. And Andrew Wilson was like, this is the future of EA. I was trying to be Australian there. So like that, I don't know, when you couple that with games as a platform, I don't know. To me, I put 1 and 1 together, 2 and 2, whatever. And I think to myself, they know that they have this generative AI thing. They know that they see Roblox and people have to create things for Roblox. So how do we put these things together so that people can use generative AI to make bullshit content and then make them spend money on skins or something, right? So it's like, I don't see that as too cynical of a take to believe in. I think that's sort of a natural progression of what they would try to do. And it's the same thing with PUBG, like PUBG, and talk about brands that are like nothing. PUBG was just, you land on an island and you pick up guns, you shoot each other. Like there was no, like I'm sure now it's like there's lore and it's like you have to read it, the PUBG lore. It's I don't know. When PUBG started, there was no story. There was no, I mean, again, I'm sure maybe somebody made something up at some point, but like there was no brand. It was very generic. It was people with shooty guns and camo and makeshift weaponry and armor killing each other. There was not like any deeper branding than that. But if you're going to make it as a platform, you have to try and like give people the tools to do their own stuff. And again, that's fine. Like GTA 5 had this as well. Like people built their own mini games and stuff like that. UGC goes back a long time. We could talk about Gary's mod. We could talk about Halo, like all this stuff, and that's all good. We could talk about mods for Christ's sake. But all that, I don't know. That was never employed because they wanted to become Roblox. It was all, how do we generate community? How do we, how do we keep people playing our game? How do we, or using our services or whatever? And I think that's a positive thing. But this, I don't know, this comes across more cynical, more trend chasey, which is exactly the kind of shit Electronic Arts would try to do. I think it's also important to talk about why Roblox is successful. And I don't want to be mean, because there are 11-year-olds out there that are trading stocks and like fucking building games in Unreal. But at the same time, I do think that Roblox, with half of its audience being, kids that just got out of diapers a week ago, they have a less discerning audience because they're kids. And I don't know, kids just kind of it doesn't mean kids are stupid. There are, I am of the mind that kids are smarter than they ever have been, partially because they have, metal boxes that show them the entire world. But, at the same time, the kids are also still kids in some areas, and they're less discerning. So they're going to want V-Bucks, or they're going to want Roblox skins or whatever. These things that are even less meaningless than like cheap toys because they don't even exist like physically. And so Roblox just rakes in money from them, or I don't know, they spend money in other ways. If you sit down and play Roblox and see some of the stuff on there, it just blows your mind how much of a scam so much of it is. And the other thing with Roblox are that content creators are paid, right, to a certain extent. So you have professional companies developing things in Roblox, right? So Roblox is its own environment. It's its own ecosystem. It's its own monster. And it's one thing to chase after like live service trends. it is another thing entirely to chase after Roblox. Chasing after, I don't know, because Roblox is almost a completely different medium, right? It is a video game, but it's similar, like how, yeah, you can read a screenplay, but a screenplay is not a book, right? Yeah, they're both on paper, but they're two completely different things meant to do different things, right? So it's like, yeah, Roblox and Battlefield are both video games, but their structures, their systems, their incentive systems are just completely different, and their economics are completely different. So I don't know. Yeah, I roll my eyes too, because it's just like, can you just make a good Battlefield game? If you want to give UGC, do that, but stop. Can we not do buzzwords? You just got done with AI as a buzzword, and you're probably not done with it. And after, before that, you just got done with metaverse as a buzzword. And before that, you got done with NFTs as a buzzword, and Web3 and whatever the fuck else. And lives. Can you just give me Battlefield? And I don't think that's too much to ask for.
And that's a good point too. Obviously, with anything, with any video game, you want to make a good video game first. And if Battlefield needs to get back on its feet, especially with the last several iterations. But you make a good game first, then you cultivate what you need, and then if you want to start introducing these extra modes and these extra things, then it's probably going to go a lot further than just trying to jump on a treadmill at level 9. So I think that just like you said, that's the thing that needs to happen first. We need to get past Battlefield 6 release, and they need to focus on making a good game before wanting to get as much money as they can elsewhere.
Yeah. And again,
I know I shouldn't be talking about that like, oh well, they need to make more money, but it's like, unfortunately, that's what they're going to. That's what that's the eyes on the prize for them.
Sure.
Is making money first and foremost.
Yeah. And again, I think it's important to reiterate that this is not about UGC itself. Like, again, Forge was great for Halo 3 and Halo Reach and stuff like that. It worked. But the doctrine behind it was not, we're going to turn this into a money-making machine, right? It had a finite life cycle. So this is not so, and I'm not saying, sorry, Richard, I'm not talking to you. Sorry. It sounded like I was talking directly to you. I'm just saying this as an opinion into the ether. So like my annoyance with this is not the UGC itself. It is the philosophy behind it, which is we're going to take Battlefield 6 and we're going to try and make it into something like Roblox, which to me is just annoying as hell for all the reasons that I already outlined. UGC is great. If they wanted to do a Forge mode for Battlefield, which already kind of existed, that's wonderful. For any game, that's wonderful. But again, it's like, this is not that. This is, how do we turn it into Roblox? And that sucks. That sucks. Connor, do you have something?
Well, I just want to add in that they want to make it COVID Roblox, where it was, a time when people had a lot more availability to be online.
Yeah.
And that ship has sailed. They should have jumped on that well before COVID hit, but they didn't see that coming. And they're also probably not looking at the fact that Roblox came out in 2006. It didn't start recently. It has been a thing that has been developing over 2 decades.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point.
And to throw the prospect of user-generated content at your audience, be like, hey, make part of the game, to a game system that's never, like, yes, it's been there, but it hasn't been a focal point of the game.
Yes.
It is gonna not work out, because the audience that you're trying to win over isn't the audience that's playing Battlefield 6.
Yeah, kids. Kids.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't want to sound mean, but I do think that a big reason for like Fortnite and Roblox's success is that I don't know. I would say you have less discerning audiences, but then FIFA comes around and punches me in the face. So we're all less discerning. Look who we make president. We're all just a bunch of fucking morons on a rock awaiting the sun to go supernova and end our entire existence. Sorry. Whoa, I went off the train a little bit there. Sorry. Okay. Is there anything else you guys would like to say about this before we do a quick update on the not safe for work content indexing, re-indexing thing?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, so real quick, we're at an hour 7. I'll rush through this and you guys can give any thoughts. August 1st, itch.io began re-indexing free adult not safe for work content and said they are in discussions with payment processors to reintroduce paid content. Stripe, one of Itch's payment processors, told Itch that they couldn't support sexually explicit content due to restrictions placed on them by their banking partners. I want to read a piece from Nathan Grayson's story about I don't know if you guys saw it, this giant calling campaign all across social media, people calling into different payment processors, talking, advocating for against censorship and stuff like that. Lots of artists, lots of game developers, lots of people who just believe in free speech and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm going to read this from Nathan Grayson's story. None of the games removed from Steam or Itch were illegal. They depict actions that are perfectly legal in other mediums. To quote Mike Stabil, director of policy at the Free Speech Coalition, quote, "The stuff companies are talking about is entirely legal. It's legal to have it in a book. It's legal to have it in a game. They are making decisions based on their brand, based on public pressure from anti-porn groups, and that can be reversed," end quote. So all I'll say real quick is this whole situation seems like a complete clown show. Payment processors. So Valve is blaming payment processors, they're blaming banks. Itch had to take things down right away and now is slowly putting things back up. And I guess none of the content was illegal to begin with, which I'll admit is something that I didn't even think about when I first read about this, because I'm dumb and I'm always thinking about, well, let's do the philosophical thing about what should be allowed for free speech or whatever. But that, that's an important conversation. That really wasn't ever the bigger point here. This whole thing has been a complete clown show, and it has achieved nothing unless you're out just to censor people. In which case, I guess you kind of succeeded. But if you're out to have a conversation about feminism and the objectification of women and stuff like that, I think all you've done is kick a hornet's nest. And inside of there was lots of angry gamers that I'm sure posted horrible things, but also a bunch of people who happen to be very progressive. So I don't know. It's like Burn After Reading or whatever movie that is. What the fuck do we learn from this? Well, I don't know. It's so this is just a complete clown show. And now regular people are trying to pick up the pieces. And I hope Valve can reverse a lot of this. And I hope Itch does. And yeah, I'm afraid that maybe those storefronts lost some, especially Itch. Valve is Valve. They're not, they're a monolith, and, Gabe Newell is up there somewhere spinning around what's that guy? Harkonnen from Dune, and he's talking about different stuff. No, he's fine, but Itch has a real community of LGBTQ people, and I think maybe that some of that trust and some of that community has been frayed from this. Which again, if you're out there promoting progressivism and feminism and stuff like that, maybe that's not the community you should attack. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. Do you guys have any thoughts before we close this out?
No, just to state that, it's obviously a very focused attack, particularly on video games, because it's exactly like you said, or like the piece said as well, all the other actions that are depicted are illegal in other mediums, and you can tell that it's a targeted attack because none of those sites focusing on just that have been affected at all by this movement.
Connor, do you have anything?
Like adult websites.
Oh, sorry.
Stuff, yeah.
Yes.
No. Sorry.
Oh, I had nothing to add on to that.
Okay. Good discussion. Good talk. hopefully next week we'll be all in person in the room and we can get into fist fights and break each other's mics and stuff like that, sports radio style. Follow us YouTube.
just like we wanted.
YouTube.com/gaming discourse, Patreon.com/the gaming discourse, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.